So this morning, we're coming to the final message in our series, Outrageous Openness, Letting the Divine Lead the Way, inspired by Tosha Silver's beautiful, and I will also say challenging, book. Over these past few weeks, we've explored what it means to trust something greater than the plans that we think we should bring into our lives. We've talked about cultivating our intuition, strengthening our spiritual guidance system, or what I like to call our inner GPS, God positioning system. If we'll pay attention to it, we'll get the guidance of where we should go. And probably one of the more challenging parts of this is learning to live from a greater sense of non-attachment so that life can unfold rather than simply trying to make life meet and fit our desires. Each week has invited us to loosen our grip just a little more and discover where we are trying to control the outcomes of life. And when we can do that, we create room for something even greater, something wiser, something more loving, something likely even better than what we could have imagined or expected. And before we can truly live in this flow of what we'll call divine order, there's one more step that we have to take. Actually, there's a few, but one big one that we have to take. We have to be willing to lovingly embrace what enters our lives. This is the attachment piece. And just as lovingly release what has completed its purpose. Faith grows through practice. And every time that we ask for guidance, whether it be how to choose the perfect gift, or selecting an outfit, or deciding how to spend an unplanned afternoon, we talked about that last week, or navigating the many different ordinary decisions of our life. When we can begin to use it in all of those different aspects, then we can develop the strength so when the difficult challenges, for when that event occurs that we just don't understand or we're unsure of how we can begin to navigate through it, becomes a little easier. We know how to turn on that GPS, and we know that all we really want to program as our destination is what's highest and best for ourselves and for our world. That we live from the purpose of soul rather than the purpose of ego. As Tosha Silver reminds us, we become what we seek. And so the best way we can start is to become more of that which we are wanting to experience in our life. If we want more peace, then we have to practice being peaceful. If we want to be able to trust in life, then we have to start by trusting as often as we can the way things are unfolding. If we want to live in this energy of divine flow, then we need to begin to allow ourselves to step into the stream or the river and go with it. Today, I want to explore a more practical aspect of this journey of allowing the divine to lead the way. And while it's done in the outer realms, it actually is surprisingly very spiritual. And we're going to be looking at ways that we can clean and clear our lives. Sometimes making room outwardly helps us make that same space inwardly as well. Have you ever done that? Have you ever cleaned? I love our storage room has stayed clean now for at least 3 months, which is like a miracle in itself. And to walk into a room and everything's in its place and is orderly, you feel it. There is a lightness that comes from having some level of order in our outer lives. I remember a story that Chris Chenoweth one of my early spiritual mentors, a Unity minister, shared about a woman in his community that frequently asked him to pray for a grand piano. She really wanted a grand piano in her life. And we pray, you want a grand piano? Yeah, we'll pray for a grand piano. And for weeks and then months this went on, and she would come through the line back. Remember when ministers used to do a receiving line? She would come through the line and said, "Are you still praying with me for my grand?" "Oh yes, I'm still praying with you for the grand piano." She had grown up playing one. She cherished those memories. She longed to sort of reconnect with that creative part of herself. And every few weeks, she would make huge affirmations around this. Well, she got ill, and Chris went to visit her in her home. He probably just had a little preview of that. And when he walked inside, he discovered that every available inch of the house was overflowing with newspapers and boxes and furniture and piles of belongings. There was barely enough room to even move through the house. And after he had prayed with her and he was getting ready to leave, he gently asked her, "When your piano arrives, where are you going to put it?" Sometimes we have to make room for that. In fact, usually we have to find a space. We have to clear out that room so something can arrive in its place. So cleaning out our physical spaces is often a powerful way to signal to the universe, to that divine flow, that we are ready to receive something new. We are willing to release what no longer serves us to create room for more of what we want to experience in our lives. So if life right now for you is feeling stagnant, if things don't seem to be moving, then this is a great thing to consider to begin with your outer environment. Our homes may appear orderly on the surface. I want you to go home and look. Yours may look perfect on the outside, but when you start opening those drawers and those closets, or under the bed, or in the garage, thankfully we don't have basements because, trust me, they are infamous for collecting things. I lived in the north. Everyone has basements, and that's where everything seems to accumulate. And beyond just our physical spaces, take a look at the trunk of your car. What about your wallet? Can you find things? Our desks, if we are working. Even our computers can quietly accumulate things that have been tucked away and forgotten. And yet, they are taking up space in our life. Stagnation isn't always visible, but unless we pay attention to this and actively work with it, it's usually present. And if the thought of letting go of things creates some anxiety, then simply invite this energy of divine wisdom into the process. Ask it, show me what's ready to be released. Sometimes even inviting a trusted friend over to help you, to support you in that process, to encourage you in the letting go process can be a way to really move that process along if you've been struggling with it. Jesus understood this principle. One of the most dramatic stories in the Gospels is the cleansing of the temple. It appears in every one, and many people interpret this as a story of anger, that Jesus had just finally lost it on everybody and was at the end of his rope and just, allowed anger to take over and direct him. And I don't think that that's necessarily an accurate way to understand this. And metaphysically, it can reveal something even deeper to us, because the temple represents our own consciousness. During Passover, the merchants and the money changers had gradually transformed that sacred place in the outer temple into a marketplace, focused on how they were going to make a profit. And Jesus overturning the tables was not to condemn people, but to restore the temple to its true purpose. Likewise, each of us is called to clear out whatever has crowded our own inner sanctuary so that it becomes a place that is and feels sacred to us. So it's not just about our outer world. We're now going to also do some cleansing of our inner world. Whatever it might be that has crowded into that space, whether it be old beliefs or fear or resentments, judgments, they tend to accumulate, and it's time to say, I release you and let you go. Anything that begins to crowd that inner consciousness state that blocks us from remembering who we truly are is a place that needs to be let go. In doing so, we often experience, so it's good to know this as you're doing this, a process that Emily Cady called chemicalization. For those of you who have been around for a while, you've probably heard about this. And she compared this idea of chemicalization to mixing an alkaline with an acid. If you've ever done that in science class, when you mix those two together, there is an immediate bubbling up. There is an agitation that creates this expanded energy that is moving against each other. But eventually, then it settles back down again, and a new balance is found in that. And the same thing often happens to us spiritually when we are making these moves to clear, to cleanse, to let go of certain beliefs and bring other ones in. Oftentimes there is a period of time where there might be increased agitation. We're in that in-between state, and we have not yet blended those two things together to create a more alkaline, peaceful place in our own minds. And what you need to understand that this discomfort is not a fail. It doesn't mean that you failed or that you're doing it wrong, but it's part of the process. Whenever a new truth confronts an old belief, there may at first be confusion. Fear may surface. Anger may arise. Long-held assumptions are beginning to dissolve and then create something new, and there is an agitation that happens. So it's not something to be afraid of or to think that somehow it's not working. Rather, it's evidence that transformation is on the way. Which brings us to the final kind of cleansing as we're doing this work and making ourselves open to what the divine would want to draw into our lives, and that is the cleansing of the heart. The author tells a story of a woman who was enduring a very painful divorce. She insisted that she wanted nothing more to do than to be finished with her former spouse. And yet, she remained emotionally consumed by resentment and anger. Although physically separated, emotionally, she was still completely attached to this person. Negative emotions, they tether us to the very experiences that we're longing to escape. They keep us energetically connected, often inviting the same lesson back, even if it's wearing a different face. How many of you have had the same lesson in your life? Same situation shows up, it's just changed bodies. Because it's still a part of our energetic makeup. It says, oh, I'm a match to that. You like that? Oh, good. Here, let me give you some more of it. So forgiveness is the tool that we've been given, and it becomes one of the greatest acts of spiritual housekeeping that we can do in our lives. And we don't do it because the person deserves it. We do it because we deserve the freedom. We deserve the willingness to be able to receive the good that life is calling us into. And so as we move into our meditation time, guess what we're going to work on? Yay! Whether it is wanting to change and understand the beliefs that we're holding on to in head, or we're ready to release and let go of any attachments we may still be holding on to in our heart. We just allow these next few moments, as we are willing, to reveal and to guide us into how it is that we are being called to let go, to transform the things that may be keeping us out of the divine flow. And so I just invite you to get comfortable right where you are. You can close your outer eyes if you're willing, or just focus on some point in the room so that all of your attention is now focused on your inner space. As you take a deep breath and let that breath go, feel the rhythm of the breathing moving in and out of your body, aligning you with the natural rhythm of life, the very breath of life itself, the natural flow when we are fully aligned, immersed, and being guided from our divinity. As you take another deep breath in, breathe in your desire to see or feel or know or understand what it is right now that is asking to be cleared out of your life. Whether it's physically, mentally, or emotionally. Allow your own inner guidance to reveal in this moment one thing that you can do that will open the path into divine flow. And whatever it is that you've received, just make a commitment, knowing that it is for your highest good. It is to bring forth that which you most desire, to do the work to let this go. Whether that's the physical releasing, whether that's to see and understand and be willing to engage with it in a new way, or to let go of all of the emotional attachments that have you tethered to that particular aspect of your life. And if nothing came in this moment, simply be open as this day unfolds for Spirit to enlighten and enliven you to where you're being called. What is seeking to let go? And then we ask that this divine space that we've created be filled. Be filled with our ability to be in the purpose and the presence of our soul, to lead us, to not only make that transformational journey in our own life, but to be a positive influence, to make a difference in our world. And whenever you're ready, you can begin to bring your attention back to this time and to this space, aware again of your body and the chair supporting it. Taking one more deep breath And then whenever you're ready, you can bring your attention back and open your eyes. So Tosha offers several beautiful practices for releasing old emotional ties. And sometimes those are the most difficult, at least in my experience, to let go of. So she says this, if you're struggling with this, she says, write a letter to the situation or to the person that you know you're never going to send, so you can be as brutally honest about what you're feeling and thinking in that moment. And then, just as we do in our annual New Year's tradition, burn it, shred it, release it. She also says that you can, and I've done this several times, take a bath with Epsom salts and imagine as you're soaking in that all of those heavy attachments are being dissolved into the water, and then as the bathtub drains, that they are now being flown to a different aspect of life. You can burn sage or another cleansing herb. Sometimes that helps to feel like you are being assisted in the release. She suggests that it might be helpful to let go of photographs or letters or objects that continue to anchor you to the past. Maybe you don't have to throw them out, but maybe pack them up and put them away somewhere. If forgiveness is really challenging, then continue to pray. Divine beloved, as she likes to say, show me the way, help me, support me in releasing this and forgiving this. And finally, to have compassion for yourself and for others as you go through this journey. It's not an easy path that we've chosen in this human journey of human life here on earth. And yet, we are each, if we're here, being called to navigate it. These simple rituals remind us that the heart and the mind, and it's safe to let go in those spaces. As we conclude the series, perhaps the greatest principle of outrageous openness isn't simply asking God to bring us something new. Perhaps it's about being willing to make room for it. May we have the strength to clear what is cluttering our homes, our hearts, and our minds. May we trust enough to release what has completed its purpose in our life. And may we remember that every ending creates space for a new beginning. And most of all, may we continue to have faith that there is this divine presence alive within us, whatever name we want to give to it, leading us to our highest good, even when it doesn't look like it or feel like it in the moment. This is the flow of life that Jesus is calling us into whenever he invites us to pray. Thy will be done. Well, it is our opportunity now to share of our financial good with this ministry. All that we do is from the support, from the financial contributions of the people in this community. So we're very grateful for the many ways in which we receive our good and for the ways in which allow us to continue to create this space and to invite people in who are seeking to know life, to live life, and to feel that sense of divine presence in their own life. In just a moment, the ushers are going to invite you to come up row by row, and if you're offering a gift today, to place it in the large basket, and then receive an affirmation to bless you this week. If you give electronically, which many people do, just come and be, if you are able to be in that flow of giving and receiving, to remember that that electronic energy of financial good is blessing this ministry, and then also receive an affirmation. And if you're watching us online, you can go to centerofunity.org and donate there. And then on the donate page, if you scroll down, there's also an affirmation there to bless you this week. So let us take what we offer today into our hands and into our hearts as we bless it together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, Father, Mother God.
All right, so we're going to stand up. We're going to wrap ourselves around this space. We'll make a big circle. We'll go hand in hand, and we're going to sing our peace song.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, a peace that was meant to be, with God as our Father, family all are we. Let me walk with my family in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me.
And so as we go into this day, into this week, allowing what needs to be released to go with ease and with gentleness, we go knowing our prayer for protection. We'll do it as call and response. The light of God surrounds us. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. I am the love of God. The power of God protects us. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over us. I am the presence of God. Together, wherever we are, God is, and all is well.